Hey guys, so I'm going to be walking you through a makeup application. So this is Nicole and I was getting her ready for her prom. So I'm starting off by prepping her face with MAC Softening Lotion. I pretty much use this on every single client. It's like an exfoliator without having to rinse your face. And then I'm using Embryolisse, and this is just their normal regular cream. She was telling me that she has really dry skin and sometimes can get a little flaky. So I was just prepping the skin, really moisturizing it and making sure that the product is really rubbed in. With this product, you don't want to use too much because a little goes a long way. So I like to work in small sections because if you put a lot on at once, it can just look like sunscreen all over the face. Then I jump into brows. So while that is kind of soaking into the skin and hydrating the skin, I jump into the brows. Now, Nicole didn't have her eyebrows done, so I decided to kind of keep that full natural look. I didn't want to clean them up too much at this point. I kind of just wanted to give them a little more shape, and I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow palette, and I was using dark brown, and I use a little bit of dark brown, a little bit of Auburn, a little bit of medium brown. I kind of just dabble into different colors, and I'm using an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush. This is like my favorite brush for the brows. I will have everything listed down below, so don't worry. So yeah, I'm just filling them in pretty normal, just filling in any gaps, giving them a little more fullness and a little more color. And then here I am going to clean them up. I just didn't want to give her that like super Instagram brow, but because she did have a lot of hair underneath the brow, I did have to use concealer, but I still want them to look natural. So I'm using MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NC25, I believe, NC20 or NC25. And I'm just using a MAC 212 brush to clean that up, and then I'm just blending that out with a Real Techniques brush. Now, you're going to see me put concealer on her brows again towards the end. I typically do one layer of concealer now, and then in the end, if I still feel like they need cleaning up, then I'll do another layer of concealer if the client hasn't gotten her eyebrows done. Now I'm just applying some base to her eyelids, and I'm using MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and I'm using the same Real Techniques brush to apply that. And then I'm jumping into Bobbi Brown Toast as the transition color. I love Toast. It's just such an easy color that works for most skin tones. I just really like it. It's nice and light and neutral. It's a little warm, but it's pretty much neutral. And I'm just blending that in and buffing that in with a Morphe gunmetal brush. And I'm just not being too precise with this, just getting some wash of color onto the eyes. And now I'm using a gold shadow on her lid. I'm like tongue twisted. A gold shadow on her lid, and this one's from Anastasia. Again, I will have everything listed down below. This is more just to show you the steps that I go through, not so much the product. And here we're just dying. We were dying the whole time. Like, we were just laughing. Her mom was there, and we were just all laughing so much. Have fun with it. Now I'm just defining her crease. I'm using a Cosetti brush, and I'm using an Anastasia Shadow. Now, my focus was her skin, so I didn't want to spend too much time on the eyes. She didn't want anything specific, so we just wanted to get some color onto the eyes. Now, she was wearing a navy dress, so she showed me a picture. She was going to be wearing navy, so I just wanted the skin to be really flawless and full coverage. So here I'm just kind of blending. I didn't want anything like cut crease at this point. I'm just applying the gold, applying some crease, applying some gold, and applying some crease. So I work in layers. I think it just lasts a lot longer and it just looks the best. Now I'm doing her wing liner, and I'm using Inglot number 77 gel liner with the Zoeva wing liner brush. This is my go-to combination. The Inglot gel liner is waterproof, it's super creamy, it's super black. So what I do is I warm up a little bit of the product onto my hand and then take the product from my hand rather than dipping into the product itself. So this is a little tip to warm up the product if you feel like your gel liner isn't creamy and it's drying out. Take a little bit from the pot with the brush and then place it on your hand and kind of swirl it around, and it's really going to melt the product, and it just goes on a lot easier because gel liners do tend to dry out. So I'm applying a quick coat of mascara. I'm using a disposable wand, of course, and any mascara will do. Just want to get a quick coat, and now I'm just measuring the lashes, and I actually asked her to curl her lashes. Now, I personally just don't like curling my client's lashes. I just find it really awkward, so I asked her to do it, and she had no problem with that. And now applying some primer. I'm going to be using this one, which is from MAC, and this is Prep and Prime Natural Radiance, because again, she has dry skin. So this is the first primer that I'm laying down for hydration purposes, but it doesn't do too much as far as pores. So I'm going to be using another primer. So when doing my client's makeup, I typically use 2 primers and a moisturizer. You can use the Embryolisse on its own. You can just use this one on its own, but I feel like the best results are when you mix primers. So this one's from Dr.Brandt. It's the Pores No More. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me talk about this. I talk about it a whole lot. Really fills in the pores. It mattifies without drying out the skin. I really like it. So I'm applying this where she has more of a porous area, which is obviously on the nose, around the nose, on the chin, and whatever's left over onto the cheeks. And this is just going to give you the best combo of moisturized skin, but also no pores. So I'm applying some lashes. These are from Voss, and they're called Wispy for Days, and I really like them. She has pretty much like almond-shaped eyes, so I didn't want anything too flared out at the end. I just wanted something wispy and in the center wispy, if that makes any sense. I didn't want to do like Iconics, if you get what I'm saying, or like Goddess by Coco. So now I'm jumping into foundation, and at first I used Estee Lauder Double Wear in the shade Cashew, and I felt like it was a good match, but I am going to apply one more coat of another color. Sometimes with foundations, well actually most of the times, I use 2 colors. I feel like that is the best way to really match the neck. So this color was matching really well, but it was just a little bit too kind of like yellow. And as you can see, I blend until my arm hurts. So here, as you can see, I'm applying a little bit of Tawny. And the reason is because it's a little bit more, I guess, yellow and not so, I guess, orange. It's a little less warm and a little bit lighter. So I just felt like it was just going to neutralize everything a little bit more and not look so warm. So I'm just applying that pretty much everywhere on top. And again, my beauty blender is damp, and I really push the product in. I can't stress this enough. Whenever I do someone's makeup, they, always notice how long I'm blending. Like literally my arm hurts after I blend and I have to shake it off, but that's how you know you have a good blend. Now I'm using concealer, and this is MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. Love this because it's super full coverage. It doesn't budge, and it's just amazing. And I'm using the shade NC25. And I'm just, covering up her under eyes. I didn't feel like I needed to correct. I usually don't correct the under eyes unless, the client asks me to, or I really feel like I need to. Even with really dark circles, MAC Pro Longwear Concealer will cover it up. Like, it is crazy how pigmented this stuff is. You only need the littlest amount, and it goes a really long way. So I'm just applying that under the eyes. And now I'm baking right away. Her mom was showing us a picture of when she did her graduation makeup, and that's why she rolled her eyes. So don't worry, it's not anyone else, it's her. I just wanted to include that. So yeah, we're baking, and I'm using RCMA No Color Powder. This is going to ensure that her concealer doesn't crease, it doesn't move, it doesn't budge, nothing. It doesn't go nowhere. Now I'm using Studio Fix Powder, and then I'm wiping away the bake. Now again, because she has dry skin, I don't want to let that bake sit there for too long, so I'm wiping that away, and I'm using a Sephora brush, and I'm using the same brush that I used to powder her face, to set her face, and it still has a little bit of leftover powder, which I don't mind. I kind of like that extra coverage, and then whatever that big brush didn't grab, I'm just wiping away with the Real Techniques setting brush, which is my favorite brush for underneath the eyes. I feel like it really gets under there and is very precise and soft. Now back to that Sephora brush, we're going to be bronzing up the face, and I'm using Makeup Forever Profusion bronzer in 30M, and I'm just giving her a light bronze. I'm not going to be contouring too much on the face, just because her cheeks are a bit rounder, and I didn't want the contour to look too harsh. Now, I turned off the light just so that I can see how it's looking in regular lighting without my ring light. So usually midway, I'll turn off my light and turn it back on, kind of like playing with my lighting, just so I know that my clients are walking out looking normal without my LED light. So I just applied some blush. That was Milani Luminoso, and now I'm attempting to apply some black eyeliner, but her eyes were really sensitive, so I ended up just kind of skipping that. And now I'm just contouring her nose with Illamasqua Heroine, and I'm using a Luxie brush to lightly contour the nose. And I felt like the brows were kind of getting a little messy again, so I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills brow definer, I'm like losing my words, in dark brown, just to kind of give him a little bit more definition, a little more color. You know, once you see the eye look coming together and the lashes, you can assess how much more brow you want. And I am going to clean them up again. Nicole didn't get her eyebrows done, so they were a little messy, so I just want to make sure they look clean but still natural, if that makes any sense. Like, I still want that bushy look, but I do want to hide any growth that she may have. Now, her eyebrows were gorgeous and they were just so thick. I wish I had eyebrows like this. My eyebrows are so thin. I'm trying to grow them out and it takes forever. Okay, now we're highlighting. I'm using, oh my god, I'm literally bugging out. Mirabella, oh my god. Mirabella highlight. This is my favorite. I don't know how I just blanked out right there. And now I'm using a little bit of a blue color underneath her eye. Now, her eyes were really sensitive to my touch, so I was trying to work really quickly but gently. I didn't want to push any product and get something in her eye and then it was just going to bother her all day. So now I'm just touching up the highlight with the Real Techniques setting brush and I'm jumping into the lips. Now, at first I was using a galactic shade, but I felt like it was just a little too pinky. Now, I'm pretty sure I was using either Bashful or the color Sweet, and I just felt like it was just a little too rosy. I do have gold on the lid, blue underneath the eye, so I wanted something a little more neutral. So here I'm applying Too Faced Chocolate Honey, which instantly makes any lipstick or liquid lipstick a little more brown because it's like a true brown. But then I felt like it was just too shiny and it was getting a little too dark. So I leave it there, but I actually end up lightening it with Exposed from Kylie. So that's what I added on top of her lips. Now I'm just touching up her shadow, seeing what else needs some blending. I'm just blending. A tip is to raise their eyebrows with your finger, and this way you can really blend a lot easier, especially for hooded eyes. So here I'm applying Exposed from Kylie Cosmetics, and I'm blending with my finger to really set the lip. And I really liked how it looked with the Exposed on top. I feel like it just made it a little more neutral and lightened it a little bit because the Chocolate Honey was just a little too dark and the other Galactic was just a little too pink. So story of my life. This should just show you that sometimes, you know, I try something and, you know, my judgment maybe was wrong and maybe I have to change things up. So you just have to work with what you have and just go little by little. Here I'm just brightening up her under eye with some yellow powder. This one is from LA Colors. It's a contour palette that I really like. I just felt like she needed some more brightening, so I used the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder underneath her eyes. I'm all about that super bright under eye, and because we have that blue under the eye, I just felt like it was getting a little dark under there. So here I am cleaning up her brows for the second time. I know it sounds crazy, but it works. So while the concealer is kind of settling in, I like to kind of use the dip brow to furthermore define them, and then I could use the concealer kind of like an eyebrow stencil. So now I'm just blending that concealer out, and I work in layers and I work step by step. I kind of just go little by little so that the makeup doesn't come out too dramatic. So now I'm applying some Gilded Honey from Laura Geller, and now I'm setting her with MAC Fix Plus. Well, actually, this is just to diminish the look of the powders. And then Tatcha Dewy Skin Spray because she does have dry skin. There was her mom. And then Skindinavia Bridal Spray. And now I'm just fanning that so that it can dry. And now I can assess how it's looking. She didn't want to look too made up because she doesn't really wear makeup on the daily. And I had to add some Mac Daddy Conceited Angel Merino, what is this? Highlight powder. It's like my last product and my secret touch. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. Mwah! Thank you for watching. Love you.